Yay.
Dead alive.
Yes, or not. Hey, everybody. Without any fanfare or pomp and circumstance, this is the snooze, the SnarkALec news. I am Tony Solo, and I am not gonna update Adobe Acrobat Reader right now. So get off my screen, you piece of crap. We've got a lot of things to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about, when I say we, there's somebody else here, but I'm not going to let him talk yet because I don't feel like it, right? We're going to talk about Snark Stock. We're going to talk about birthdays. We're going to talk about The Walking Dead. And because we're going to talk about birthdays, that's always my cue to introduce the greatest co-host of all times. And that is my buddy, Mr. Dylan Lang. Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Tony, thanks for that glowing welcome. And also that Adobe thing, my work wants me to do that. And the thing is, I'm not doing it because I'm afraid I'm going to mess up my work stuff. But ever since it's come up, my YouTube hasn't been letting me play. It says something along the lines of my cookies are messed up. So I'm wondering, maybe I should update it.
Well, I was talking about Adobe Reader. That's the software that's used for PDF, not Flash or that other stuff. I always update that stuff on my personal computer, on my work computer. I don't do it because I usually don't go to websites that require that kind of software. But keeping things up to date, I mean, basically what will happen is if you don't, after a while, everything stops working, and that's just a fact. So,
all right, maybe I'll look into that then. But that when I hear talk about that, we're here to talk about birthdays and not too many.
Before we talk about birthdays, I just want to say thank you, Miss Laura Norman, because without being prompted, usually I sent her a message that's like, hey, Snuggums, you know what tonight is, you know what I need. And then she responds with a yes, sugar pie or honey dumpling or something like that. I did not prompt her because I've been busy. You know how it is. Sometimes, like real work intrudes on this stuff. I didn't do that. And all of a sudden I get an email and it's from the lovely Laura Norman and it's the birthdays. So you're awesome, Laura.
You are. Thank you, Laura. So what do we got today? March 14th. That is next Monday, or this upcoming Monday coming up. We've got old friend of the SnarkALec radio show, Vicky Adesso. Vicky's birthday is March 14th.
Adesso.
And March 16th, this woman should be
sainted.
Put up. Yeah, should be sainted. Exactly what I'm saying. Pam McDonald, wife of Scotty McDonald. Her birthday is March 16th.
Pam McDonald.
Actually, March 18th is interesting because it's actually my stepfather's birthday also. And someone I work with's birthday is on the 18th also.
Stepfather.
Someone you work with. Coworker. And March 18th is the new mommy herself, Amy Glitters. Amy, soon to be Amy Fanning. Real quick before we continue with the birthdays.
Glitter.
We want to, our thoughts and prayers are with Amy and Patrick. Little ass kicker Lucas, who I call Cage, was born on, I think it was the 5th of March, and unfortunately had some slight problems with his heart. And so he's been had a couple operations, and now it's just the long recovery time. So we should hopefully learn more about Lucas in about 2 months, I think Amy said her last update, to see if things took place. Already a couple days old, and he's already had more surgery than most people ever, and he's fighting like a champ because Cage is a fighter. So I'll continue with the thoughts and prayers to Amy and Patrick and Lucas, especially as he's right now and probably will be the biggest fight of his life. Hopefully he won't have anything quite as serious again in his lifetime. So our thoughts are with you, Amy, and definitely, Tony, we will, once everything is good and copacetic with Lucas, we will get Amy and Lucas, and maybe even Patrick, who knows, on the
Nah.
snooze, and yeah, Amy and Lucas is good enough. Get them on
Little
the snooze.
ass kicker. Little ass kicker. Little ass kicker.
So cheers to you.
Cheers.
Hi. So next up, March 25th is Nola Mom. One, it's her birthday. And so happy birthday to you.
Nola Mom. Nola Mom. I'm turning into brain.
March 26th is our good friend Pirate Mel. Mel, it's her birthday. So yay for Mel. Actually, it seems really funny. It seems Facebook seems to want Mel and Scott to be together. So I don't know if you've ever seen, you probably don't go on Facebook that much, but there's all these quizzes and stuff like that, like who your best friends, stuff like that. And they always seem to have Mel and Scott together. It's really funny. Scott McDonald. So who knows? It's weird. That's all for
Bold man. Bold man.
That's it for the March birthdays. We've got 3 in April. One is Beth on April 4th, Irish Eye 67. April 10th is our good friend T. Scott Brave Boys. His birthday is April 10th. And we round out April with well, until the next snooze, that is. April 11th is Susie Cousy, Susie's birthday. One note that Laura did put on here, Doug Close's birthday is also in April, but we don't know what day it is. So every day can be Doug Close's birthday.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit.
And that's the birthdays from the snooze.
So since we spoke about, okay, so I guess the next snooze is going to be the 7th, because does the Walking Dead wrap up on Easter Sunday, I believe?
No, it wraps up on the 3rd.
Was that Easter Sunday, or is Easter Sunday the 10th?
Easter Sunday is March 27th, actually.
Oh, the 27th. Okay, that's cool, because
really early this year. It's actually on my sister's birthday, speaking of birthday.
Okay. Sister. So we want to do Thursday, the 7th, April 7th.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So before we go any further with some of our zombie nonsense, I got a tweet from Midgie Girl earlier. She wanted to know some details. So I am going to give you the details as I have them. Are you ready?
Okay.
There ain't fucking any. And this is why. We've had people throw out ideas, and we're in the brainstorming phase of the planning. And what we do is what we did last time. So we'll bring you people into the process. Basically, excuse me, sun-kissed. What happens is we try and get a ballpark head count. And the reason that we need this is if we're going to try and make any kind of reservations, or we're going to do an activity, sometimes to get a group rate, you need a minimum number of people. And in some cases, there is a limit to the number of people that can do a certain activity, such as, okay, let's do a little segue to escape the room. On my for my birthday last month, my family took me to escape the room here in Princeton, and we did the bank robbery. The bank robbery has a limit of 10 people to be booked at any one session. There was only 4 of us, so we were with another group of people, and no, we did not escape. But the bank heist is the hardest room that they have to escape. There's a lot of puzzles, and only the guy told us that was running he was our guide, that less than 5% of the people that attempt that room, 5% of the groups, actually escape. And without giving anything away, you're in a room, which is the bank, and you have to get into the vault. But then if we made it into the vault, only 20% of the groups make it into the vault. We made it into the vault, but after you get out of the vault, you still have a couple other puzzles and things that you got to go through before you escape the room. A lot of escape the room rooms have a limit of 4 or 6 people. So we have to know how many people are coming to SnarkStock. So right now, as of March 10th at 9:10. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people that are definitely coming to Snark stock. But that's actually not true because I don't see and I guess because it was assumed, I don't see Dylan's name. I don't see Dawn's, so that's 12. I don't see Jay or Nikki, so that's 14. I don't see Myrna's name here, so that's 15. And I don't see my name on this list, so that's 16. Okay.
Was that on the website?
Well, it's on. Myrna has a sheet that she's filling out online with people that she's spoken to. So the people that are confirmed are Lee, Shirley, Gary Harris, the McGivners, Jerry, Jim Gaglione, Heather, and MJ and Brian.
Mm-hmm. MJ mentioned that last week. Yeah.
So that's the 10 that are confirmed plus the people and Mandy's name is not on there. I'm sure Mandy's going to attend. So we're up to about 17 people. Okay. Now, some people are going to be staying overnight. So we're going to look into, rooms for people. And if we can reserve some rooms, maybe we can get a little bit of a discount rate, but it all depends on the head count. Okay. So we're going to try and have an activity for the day, meet around 11 o'clock. So plan on being in town by 11, not getting off a plane that lands at 10:45 with a suitcase in your hand looking for a cab. When we get a little bit closer, we'll have more information firmed out, but plan on meeting for 11 o'clock. Okay. There are people that are local, so there will be people at the place where we're going to meet as early as the earliest time we say we're going to meet. So we'll have Dylan out there at 9:45 if he needs to be out there at 9:45. Right. Thank you. So what we did in Philly was we met, we had a little something to eat. We went to Eastern State Penitentiary. We did that tour. We were there for a couple of hours. That was a lot of fun. Then we drove into Center City, Philly. And we went to the Belgium Tavern. We did a little bit of, a tiny bit of walking. But we went to the Belgium Tavern. We had another nice meal. We had some beers. And then after that, we screwed around. We defiled some statues and whatnot. And then we went home. Now, I don't know if I'm staying over, but I'm definitely going down. But for those people that might be flying in, like Kelly is kind of like a maybe, Kelly Toole. So we need people to, get off of the maybe line and either, say yes or no, because we need a better head count. The committee is meeting again next Thursday, and possibly by next Friday, we may have some better ideas and fleshing out. But as far as what plans we have, right now, we don't have any. So if Myrna gets in contact with you, please give her a yes or a no, not a maybe, because, when it comes to some of these things, if we're going to make reservations, like I said, hey, if there's 20 people to get in, it's $7 instead of 15 or 8. You know what I mean? And we're trying to keep the budget to $75 is what we're going to spend that day per person. Okay. That doesn't include people that are driving down and paying for gas and that stuff. But in Baltimore, like, we're going to have lunch. It's going to be $30 a head. Then we're going to go do this. That's another $20 a head. When you add all of that crap up, we're trying to keep it around 75 per. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less.
Depending on what we've got planned, yes.
Right. We're not going to any baseball games or anything like that because,
that'd be ridiculous.
Yes.
Actually, it's funny. John McGevna just tweeted to us. Helena wants to know where her side piece is. He better make it or she will hunt him down and cut him.
Oh, did I not mention Mike? Mike said he's going to go down. He said this, and so Dylan and Dawn are both on the committee, but only Dawn was there last time. I was expecting Dawn and Dylan to be sitting side by side, but Mike was saying that he's going down in a tour bus and invited me down along with him, but I don't know if I'm staying, and he's definitely staying, and he said he's filling up the bus. So I'll believe it when I see it, but at least Mike is going, and maybe Vex, and maybe some other people. And he said the last number that he threw out there before we broke up, when we spoke a couple of weeks ago, was 86 people. So, and for those of you that know Mike, every time you ask him, he adds more people onto it. So right now he's probably up to 349,226. And so, are there any questions about SnarkStock? And you want to know something? I had Twitter open and it disappeared on me, and now I have to go find it. Here it is.
No, the only comments we have is Midget Girl was where? Baltimore. Yeah, I need a room. That'll be me running off the plane calling Uber.
Okay.
And I mentioned her light rail probably better because there's a light rail stop at the airport, and depending where we decide to meet, just hop on that and just get off where you need to.
Right, and if we do, usual check-in time at like most motels is like 3 p.m, but if we've got a large enough group, we might be able to. Okay, here we go. So, breaking news. The official stats for Little Ass Kicker is, as Dylan said, March 5th, born at 9:45. So there's a lot of nines there. 7.5 pounds, 21.5 inches long, and 3 surgeries since he was born with a heart defect, and everybody is praying for Little Ass Kicker. And I like that because his name is Lucas. So LAK just works. It works so well. And he is kicking ass. All right. Yeah. I just want him to Jedi mind trick one of those doctors and say, hey, stop poking me with that thing. You can get arrested for poking people with that thing. Oh, I didn't want to say that.
Oh, no, you didn't.
So.
Nice.
So. Yeah, so if there's any questions about SnarkStock, please either DM me or send me an email. If I can answer them, I will. But everything that I know and that's official that we've talked about right now, I mean, again, we're still in the brainstorming stage. As I was saying before, I gave out Little Ass Kicker's stats. Most motels, check-in time is about 3, but we might be able to arrange it where at least anybody who's coming in, if they're coming in on Saturday, maybe arrange where like maybe they can drop off their luggage, because you don't want to be,
walking around Baltimore with luggage, yeah, especially not Baltimore.
I mean, if you're only staying one night, I mean, I don't know how much stuff that you need to bring. I mean, you could just, if you could find a CVS in Baltimore, you could probably buy like a little toothbrush and a tiny thing of toothpaste and stuff, so you don't need to bring that much stuff with you. The plan is that anybody who's staying over the next day, maybe there'll be a little breakfast or something that you guys do before you leave, So, and again, we're still planning this out, and everything is being talked about. So, there you have it.
Miss Shirley's best breakfast in Baltimore. But that's besides the point.
Miss
Shirley's.
Is that right next to Misdemeanors?
No, it's downtown though. 86. What? Oh, we'll see. 86 people going. Holy crap! We had like 15 people at the first SnarkStock. As I said, we'll see if that actually.
Well, so no. Actually, at the first SnarkStock, we had 8. Okay, and at the second SnarkStock, we had 16. So if we can double that again and get 32 people, then we're doubling in size every year.
Which
So
is awesome.
I think we can get 32.
Mhm.
Next year, getting 64, that's going to be tough. Okay. And then after that, getting 124 when there's only 177 SnarkALecs, and some of those people are people's booze accounts and celebrities, that's going to be the tough one. Doubling down on that. I mean, I think we can get to 32. 32 seems to be, I mean, we've got 10 people. Actually, those people names that were yeses, the only person that was on that list that was at previous Snark stocks was, I think, Jerry.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back because I closed it out, but I'll go back. If I'm not mistaken.
No, Shirley was at it the last one.
Right, but Lee was at the first one. Okay.
Yeah, Lee was at the first one, missed the second one, and
right.
wants to do the one.
And Jerry's been to the first two, even though Jerry didn't come down until later on and have dinner with us. She's the only one, and Heather is on this list, and she was there last year.
Last year too.
So I said we're up to 16 people already. So, and all the names aren't there. So,
that's a good point, Lee. Actually, I'll probably come in Friday night.
Right.
You know what? If you want, Lee, and I'm sure Dawn would mind, we can probably offer you a place to stay at our house on Friday night. If a few people want to come in on Friday, we've got some room. So I mean, we'll work. Well, as I said, we'll work things out when we get close to it. But Lee, totally, if you want to come in on a Friday night, let me know, and Dawn and I'll probably be able to get you accommodations at our house. It wouldn't be a big deal, probably.
I was going to say, Dylan, the homeless shelter over here by me in Trenton, they're having some overflow problems. Should I send some of them your way?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way we're going to get to 128. There you go.
Yeah, that's right. You're a SnarkALec, and you're a SnarkALec. And everybody gets a car. Oprah shows up and shit.
Oh, that would be sweet. Oprah's from Baltimore. She should do it. She should totally come.
Yes, yes, Jerry. We're talking about Snark stock. So you
oh no. Myrna and her are driving in together. No.
Well, just as long
as Jerry's driving.
As Jerry's got a priest on speed dial. Should be not having a problem. And it all depends on who's doing the driving too.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think Myrna is less dangerous if she's behind the wheel. I can't believe I said that.
Well, you're welcome. We'll that's fine. Lee, if you need to, that'd be awesome. Unfortunately, Amy Fagara probably won't be able to make it because Lucas's recovery, the last kicker's recovery. But there's always next year, right?
Okay, so is there any other questions, comments, or?
And I said, we'll know more, we'll know more by next Friday. So, if you do have any questions between now and then, totally let Tony know. And we can bring him up at the next meeting. I think Dawn and I might try to do a combo here on the computer. I think we can do it without sharing headphones. I think we can do it without headphones. So we'll see.
Well, what you could do is you can get, how do your headphones plug in? Are they the analog ones that go into the headphone and the mic jacks?
No, I got it in the USB port. So
USB port, huh? How many USB ports do you have?
Well, I
don't think you can do it USB, but I think you might be able to get a splitter at Radio Shack. Radio Shack is out of business, right?
Yeah, I've got two, so might be able to do something. And I do.
Yeah, I think one would have to be. Yeah, but you have to pick one. It's only going to let you use one at a time. That's why I'm saying like some sort of a splitter.
Right? Okay, that might be a good idea. I might be looking at that by next week. So, can we do something ghosty and weird? Well, we'll see. We're
looking into everything. I mean, the ghosty and weird thing that we did was Eastern State. So. We're right now everything is debatable, negotiable, We don't know. It all depends on how many people. Um, because you also have to figure out. We have to figure out once we get into Baltimore how we're going to move the number of people that we have from place to place, and what's the best way of doing that.
And
So,
there's options. We're talking about that as well. So,
right. So, I mean,
that's why we have these meetings.
I mean, if is it possible that maybe we can get one of those like mini buses for a day? You
That's
know,
what I was
like
thinking of.
does it cost $25 a person or something like that? Like, so we have this bus that says, okay, we're going to go down to what's the name of that area, Dylan? That is really not public trans.
Fells Point.
Fells Point. Okay, so we're going to take that. We'll have that thing all day. And, you know, how expensive is it? How many people, you know, are there different size buses? Can we get 30 people on it? Can we get 35 people on it? You know, if we had something like that, that'd be cool. Because guess what? You don't have to worry about drinking because you're not driving. And even if you are going to drive later on, at least during early part of the day, you can maybe have a couple of drinks and then, you know, stop drinking and still not worry about traveling. So these are things that we're talking about.
Yep. When we went to, it was funny. Dawn and I and the kids went down to the Inner Harbor last summer, and while we were there, I happened to notice one of those like limo bus type things show up, and I got a picture of the phone number. So I'll bring that up at the next meeting also, so we can run some numbers on that and some other ones as well. So.
Right, and again, so some of these things, you know, you have to book it by a certain date. You know, certain number of people. The more people that come, the cheaper things get. Like, you know, that bus is going to be like maybe $1,000 for the whole day. Okay, so it's a lot cheaper to divide that by 40 than it is 20. Okay, yeah. And I'm hoping it's not going to be $1,000, but you know, just throwing things out there. So
yeah,
everything is negotiable. We have. Everybody that went to SnarkALec last year, I think, had an awesome time. I mean, I enjoyed myself all day long. The same people that organized that, the same people who did all the work, and believe me, I did nothing. All I did was start a couple of hangouts. That's all I did. People may say differently. All I did was start a couple of hangouts, but the same people that did the planning and all the other groundwork are the same people that are doing the groundwork this time. So we will have good, fun things planned. We just don't have anything planned yet, but we got to get cracking. So you people got to get off your asses and get in touch with Myrna if she hasn't gotten in touch with you and said, Myrna, I'm coming, and I'm bringing 3 people with me.
Exactly. And what's great also, it's great is that with Baltimore, all the stuff that we have planned is all within, you know, about a 5-10 mile radius. So I mean, it's all all self-contained. So it's not going to be.
To tell you the truth, dude, Eastern State to where we were in Old City is less than 2 miles. It's okay. Not that far. You know, all of the places that we were at, we were within 10 miles from where we started. It was less than 10 miles from where we started. Like round trip, I think if you would have, you know, looked at your odometer, especially, you know, if you were following Nikki, the crazy driver from hell.
Yes, maybe that's what it was. I was in an unfamiliar city with, no offense, Tony, crappy road system.
It's all right. I'm a New Yorker, dude. I take no responsibility for Nicole and Mike's shitty downtown Philadelphia situation. Now, you want to know something? I happen to love Philly. It really does, especially when you're in Center City. There is definitely a New York kind of vibe. The people are really cool. And I will tell you what Baltimore and Philly and some of these other cities have over New York. There's only one team. Okay. When you have a city like Philly or like Baltimore or like Boston, where you've only got one baseball team, everybody's behind it. Only one hockey team, everybody's behind them. One football team, everybody's behind them. One basketball team, who watches fucking basketball? I don't watch that shit. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I really love Philly. So, and I've been working in and around, and I'm in the area long enough where I can make fun of the city. Okay, It's not as a New Yorker trying to crap on the place. It really is a great town. And I'm sure I'm going to fall in love with Baltimore just as long as you keep me out of the CVS's, all right? See, and you want to know something? Everybody forgets that. And you're like, why does Tony keep on talking about the CVS? Listen, forget about it, all right?
The good news is it got rebuilt and reopened just this week, actually. So that's a good sign.
Bulletproof glass at the checkout counters?
Yeah, they're doing something different. They said, yeah, they upgraded their security, as they really should. So,
and it's
no,
fireproof.
It is fireproof, yes. But I mean, I'm Baltimorean, born and bred. I love my city, but I know it has many flaws, many flaws. But if you get past that, we are a pretty adorable city. So
yeah,
down by the harbor
city. It's the charm city.
Get outside the harbor, it's a little worse. It's not that bad now.
So, anything else about SnarkStock? Because if not, we're going to move on.
Yep. So once again, let us know any questions, comments, and let Myrna know that you want to go, because totally, I mean, we can have a blast with a lot of people downtown, and it should be amazing and great to see a lot of all those names you said, the first 10, a lot of really new good faces coming to SnarkStock for the first time is fantastic. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
If you
hello.
Hold on. Dylan, could you entertain the crowd?
Yeah, sure can.
I got to mute myself.
So let's see what's going on. So, but as I said, we're going to have a meeting next weekend, or not next week, next Thursday, and we'll get all the information we need together, any new updates. We have planned ideas. I'm still pushing for the Gem Museum, which is a pop culture museum in downtown Baltimore, right near Camden Yards baseball stadium. It's centrally located, and it's, we are a pop culture group for the most part, and I think you will all love it. So I'm going to be pushing that. I'm going to be the champion of that during these SnarkStock meetings, and I should be there for those who did the stuff last time. I should be there this time. So
I'll be right back. I will be right back.
Tony will be right back. So let me see. What should I do? Oh, let's talk a little bit about my other show. Why not? Well, I've got a occupied audience who's waiting for Tony to get back. Let's see. Hold on a second. Midgie Girl, how long does a pretty bad broken toe heal? I hope I can walk around by then. Just saying. Oh, can we get Maryland crabs? It's a possibility. Maybe get Maryland crabs. As for a broken toe, Lee, I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be okay by June. We are aiming for mid-June. We can't do the first weekend in June because that is the weekend of my daughter's her dance recital, so we can't do that. However, I think we're aiming for the second, and we're not going to do the third weekend because that's my birthday weekend. It's also Father's Day weekend, so we're going to aim for that middle day weekend, which is right around Flag Day, which would be kind of cool too. I mean, let me just throw out some stuff that I think we've been talking about. The Gem Museum, I think we need to go to. Fells Point is a great party town, lots of neat bars, restaurants. There is, Lee, a ghost walk, and we're looking into that also. So we'll see Edgar Allan Poe's graveyard nearby too. So all kinds of neat stuff all throughout Baltimore. So as I said, let us know any concerns, questions you have, and let us know if you're coming. Absolutely. And that way, we can get a better target of what we need to do and how much it will cost. And as Tony mentioned earlier, the more people, the less it's going to cost.
Yeah, and I just want to, Lee, your broken toe should be healed by the time June comes around, and I believe Myrna is bringing her own crabs. But
dude, you had to say that while I was drinking, man. I almost snarfed all over the computer.
I aim to see that snarf.
Damn.
So let's put that one to rest. Yep. The only before we were rudely interrupted, I was going to say the theme of SnarkStock 2016 is Naughty Pie. So we want you to submit your artwork of a Naughty Pie. Send your Naughty Pie artwork to Dylan, to his email, and we will judge and we will pick the best one, and that will be our theme photo. Naughty Pie. I will actually. I'll set something up on the Snooze website. I'll tweet out a link where you should be able to upload any kind of Photoshoppy thingy, Naughty Pie, that you want to do. And if we like it, we'll use it. And the winner gets absolutely the same thing they got from our last contest, which is nothing.
Mandy will buy you a beer. She bought a lot of people beers that night.
Yes. Okay, so I can close that, and I can close that. No, I don't want to close that because I need to go back over here. So, without any further ado, we did ask. So we're going to switch gears and talk about The Walking Dead now. And sure, now my phone starts going off like crazy.
It was the crabs.
Yeah, it was the crabs. Hey, listen, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, it is. And you go to Baltimore, you walk into that in both ways, if you think about it.
Okay, so Scotty, when doesn't Myrna have crabs? She tweets pictures of her and her crabs all the time. So everybody knows Myrna has crabs. So, my news.
So about The Walking Dead.
About The Walking Dead, yeah. So, we have just passed the 3/4 way mark, or we're halfway through the second half of the season. So we just had episodes 9 through 12, and Dylan, you had a binge the last couple.
My thing is, and I've been watching the Academy Awards forever, and I was this close to not watching them 2 weeks ago, but I wanted to, so I felt like I wanted to, so I DVR'd the episode from 2 weeks ago, which was the third one of the season, and I didn't get around to it. That week was madness, and I didn't get around to watching it again before last week, so DVR'd that one, didn't watch that one, and then I think on Tuesday I just binged the last 2 episodes, so I'm caught up fully. So you'll see me back tweeting on Sunday, dropping all my spoilers and my knowing winks. I know it's gonna happen. Maybe.
Well, so before we get into talking about the episodes, though, I did ask people to rate the episodes 9 through 12. So coming back, you had 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's 4. There's 4 more left. And the results are as follows. We had 20% rated a 1. 20% gave it a 6, which is better than the medium. It was a scale of 1 to 10. 1 at 7, 1 at 8, and 1 at 9. So how pitiful. We had 5 responses. Really, people? Seriously? 5 responses? You can do better than that. So there was also a couple of questions. When we did our last news, Dylan, who did you think was most likely to die in the second half of the season?
I gave Abraham and Daryl were my 2, with Glenn as a close third, but I thought it was just going to be Abraham and at least Daryl was going to be the one to get it. Okay,
so I'm pretty sure I had Glenn, Abraham, and things may have changed a little bit, but I'm still standing by those 2. And my hanger outer was Daryl, but now I'm.
Yeah, I am too. And you know what, Tony, you're absolutely right. I am too. As I mentioned before we came on, I'm going to change some stuff up a little bit too. We can talk about that.
So out of the responses, we got Morgan. He's dangerous, going to get someone killed. Building a cage, he's going to keep someone again. And Tara, didn't didn't I say I love you to the doctor? Um, so yeah, so she said she loved the doctor. And so Carol or Glenn or Daryl, hell, all of them. Um, who cares? And I'm guessing that's Scott McDonald. Um, and Glenn with sad face. And I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. And here goes the question: are you looking forward to Fear the Walking Dead? And we had a 60% negative on that response. And I just can't believe it, because I am telling you, I am looking forward to that little Fear the Walking Dead episode on the airplane more than I'm watching The Walking Dead just to see those little webisodes during The Walking Dead, because that is so friggin' good. It's a minute and a half, and they pack in a lot of drama and stuff into that. So I myself am looking forward to Fear. Um, and so I did tack on one more question to this. Um, do you have any suggestions for future show topics? And one of the suggestions is, what the hell is that a picture of? So without anybody explaining that, I guess we'd have to come up with some pictures, and people would have to guess what that is a picture of. That sounds like it's a little bit of work. It might be doable, but I mean, I would have to do something to a picture and then post it and say, what is that a picture of? People could play along. That could possibly work.
Or I could get my son to draw a picture and we can put it up here and say, what the hell is that a picture of? Sorry, no, it's mean, but
yeah, but yeah, no. I would not want the child's artwork defiled in that way. So the next show topic suggestion is, let me get back to you on that. Okay, I don't know how we turn that into a show topic, but I guess we'll have to ponder that. Mountain monsters. Talk about mountain monsters. Now, listen,
Scotty.
if you are not watching Mountain Monsters, you don't know what you're missing. It is probably one of my favorite guilty pleasure shows to watch. It's on Saturdays at 10 o'clock when there's a new episode. And it's better than Finding Bigfoot, because these guys, they actually had a Bigfoot or something in a trap and it broke out. Like I know it's not real. Okay. But these guys are just so they're so likable, and it's just so much. It gives me so much joy to watch this show. Like, I know it's bullshit. It's like watching, have you ever watched Duck Dynasty?
No.
I don't know what the allure is about that show. I've seen an episode or two, and these guys just sit around and make fun of each other. Kind of like what we do on Twitter, except, they're on video and they're in the same room and we're not. But these guys in Mountain Monsters, they actually go out and do stuff and then make fun of each other, which it's just so good.
Only problem with that is, you probably need to get Scotty or someone on here, because I don't get Destination America or whatever channel it's on. So I can't watch it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Do craft beer with Mandy again. Okay.
That's probably my show.
Yeah,
I've done
and I was going to say, I have never done craft beer with Mandy. I've done craft beer with Mandy in person. I sat across the table from her, and we talked about beer at length at the last Snark Stock. But no, we've never had beer as a topic on the Snooze.
That's my show.
Yes,
Dylan knows.
Dylan knows. Yeah, the Snooze has never been beer worthy. And then the last suggestion is just says, eat me. So thank you very much for that one. I appreciate it. Um,
Well, maybe get one of those, some weird food and say, "Eat me," and see if we vomit all over our computers, or say, "Oh, this is actually pretty good," and then find out it's prison food.
so Lee agrees with me. I think the second season is going to be really good for Fear. Let me tell you something. They're doing it now, and it kind of sucks. But um, a couple of months ago, they actually did a Fear the Walking Dead marathon, and it's only 6 episodes for season one. Okay, so it's not really that long, and um, in 2 sittings, I binged the whole thing, and you get a different perspective of that show if you binge it. I picked up on a lot of things that I kind of missed the first time, and the um, the Clueless family wasn't as clueless as you think. Now, I would have done things differently, but at a certain point, like they weren't trying to watch the news and they weren't turning on the radio, and the reason is at a certain point, Madison says, and this was after she had a little conversation with Tobias. Uh, they were burying it. They, being the government, they were playing it down. It wasn't making it into the news. What was actually going on, and one of the things that it still bothers me a little bit is that the riot that started that particular day, wherever they were, I think they were supposed to be in downtown LA, how that riot within less than a 24-hour period turned into a full-blown zombie apocalypse. Like how that happened so quickly, and how did the military get there so fast? I mean, but I mean, all things considered, it was. I mean, I think it's a lot better um, than I gave it credit for in the beginning.
Well, here's the thing. I'm intrigued to see what's going to be going on with it, because now they have a little bit more room to breathe, where they knew they were condensed to 6 episodes and they need to cover a certain amount of things to get from point A to point B to point C by the end of the 6 episodes, that they really can't, let it breathe a little bit, as it were. So now you get a full season, which it's a full season, and you're going to be able to space things out, get it a little bit more, focused, and able to stretch it out a little bit, so you can fill the. I don't know if it's 16 episodes, but it's like 14 or 12 or something. So it's almost like double what we got the first season. So they did do a full second season. So the fact of the matter is, I like what they're doing because it's coming on right after Walking Dead. So when Walking Dead ends at the beginning of April, boom, we go right into more zombies for another 8 weeks or something like that. And then they're going to probably split again. And then they'll work out, maybe something's going to happen during the summer. Maybe that's when Preacher's going to air. I don't know. And then after that, they'll bring back, Walking Dead, and then the second part of Fear the Walking Dead. Or they'll do Fear the Walking Dead first and then do the new season of Walking Dead. We'll see how things work out. I think they'll probably do the second part of Fear the Walking Dead before they do the new season of Walking Dead. So it'll be something like that. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm interested to see where they're going to go. And from what we've been seeing of some of the ads, it's not what, everyone's thinking, okay, they're going to go to the boat now, and it's just going to be them floating around on the boat and zombies attacking them on the boat. Well, that might happen in a episode, but there are sequences of them on land, on the beach, and stuff like that. So they're going to go to other places. It's not just going to be a complete full season on a boat. So they're actually get a chance to go and spread all that. So, I'll still watch it, and we can make a determination then. After the second season comes, we'll see if it gets any better. For those who don't like it, I recommend just checking out the second season. Give it a full season's worth. 6 episodes, you can only do so much, and then just give it a full season. If you still don't like it, well, then there you go. You can drop it like a hot cake if you want.
Okay, I got two things. First of all, if you haven't seen Laura Norman's tweet, forget
Gorgeous.
about forget about the naughty pie, because I don't think you get naughtier than that. So thank you, Laura Norman. I think we will use that some shape or form, because that is definitely a naughty pie. Just a little bit more information, because I'm not 100% behind Fear yet, but I'm telling you, those webisodes, I love them. I think I definitely look forward to them. Somebody from that plane, and you're thinking it's either going to be the boy or the Asian girl, is going to end up in Fear the Walking Dead. And so April 10th is the premiere. It's 15 episodes, and
15.
they
Okay.
have air dates for the first 7. So I guess they're going to uh, have 7 episodes, and then it's going to stop, and then it's going to come back for the rest of the season. So it's running from April 10 to May 22nd, and that's when it's going to stop, and then something else will come on. And I'm guessing then, maybe prior to The Walking Dead coming back, it'll be Fear in the summer leading up to The Walking Dead, which is pretty cool. I really like that. And then maybe they'll get into that rhythm where then, you know, uh, The Walking Dead comes back for season 7, and then when they do their halftime thingy, they stop. But it's a little bit, because I know they're not going to have an episode go up against the Super Bowl, so probably there may be a little bit of a break. But I kind of like that, Fear going into The Walking Dead.
I mean, and that makes sense because you don't want to have the first half of Fear the Walking Dead and then not show the second half until after the first half of the next season of Walking Dead. You're going to need to have a completed season before you get into the regular Walking Dead. Now, you're probably right, Tony. What they'll probably end up doing is something similar to this, because we still don't know. It all depends. They haven't been signed up for a third season yet. They were given a second season when it was originally announced that they were going to be doing Fear the Walking Dead, but there was no announcement about a third one. We'll find out probably sometime in May if there's going to be a third season, depending on the ratings and how well things are going with the series, and see if AMC's still up for it. So, yeah, I think so. We're probably going to see you'll probably see Fear the Walking Dead through, as you said, May, and I think we're probably going to see Preacher. Probably would make sense to slot in there, and then once Preacher's done its run, finish up Fear the Walking Dead, and that can lead into the new season of Walking Dead, and then have a little bit of a break again, and then either do the second half of The Walking Dead and then do a new season of Fear the Walking Dead. It's similar to what they did this season. We'll see what happens.
So that leads us into our discussion of The Walking Dead. So we heard everybody else's opinion. Scale of 1 to 10, first half of the second half, or the third quarter of The Walking Dead, 1 to 10, Dill.
You know what? I'll say 7. I like it because it's hemming closer to the comics, so I'm seeing a lot of I'm being able to see a lot of what I saw in the comics coming to life on the TV show. Yeah, there's a lot of differences and a lot of not and some changes, but still you're getting the general base they're doing in the comics. So you see that they're sort of hemming more towards the comics, whereas the first half of the season didn't really focus that much on the comics. You're starting to hem more into that. I like the introduction of Jesus. I like his character a lot, and I'm seeing exactly what I thought I would see Rick and his group getting overconfident, and they're going to get a very nasty wake up call when the big man shows up. What about you, Tony?
I'd be hard pressed to give it anything less than a 7, only because there was a lot of stuff happened, and a lot of stuff happening. I did not appreciate in the episode where we meet Jesus how I think they tried to be a little bit comical. I mean, like I didn't think it was funny, and I felt that um, they should, at this point in the zombie apocalypse, you should be a little bit smarter than what they were. I mean, to get your pocket picked and have your keys gone, have your keys get stolen, the old firecracker trick, like these things, like they seem like juvenile type things that, two grown men, hey, you never let the guy out of your sight. I'm thinking, because you still don't know who he is. You don't have anybody at your back. If you hear something like gunshots and there's going to be people with guns in front of you, you don't want to have an unknown at your back. I'm sorry. Um, I didn't appreciate the juvenility about it. But having said that, there has been a lot of action. And I think, so since we last spoke, I put forth that I thought Abraham was going to hook up with Sasha, and it was going to lead to Abraham dying. But now it's changed a little bit because Sasha spurned him, and I don't know what's going on there, but Abraham's got that crazy thing going where it looked like when he was fighting with that dude in Hilltop, like he wasn't really fighting back. I mean, I know the guy was big, but I mean, I've seen Abraham fight, and like, what's going on, man? So I still think, and don't know how this is going to play out with Rosita and Abraham, because I'm thinking, you know, maybe Abraham doesn't know it, but maybe he's got some pancakes being made.
Awful.
So he's still up there. I think the only reason that Maggie is involved in this forays is so she can be present and there when Glenn dies. Okay. And there goes another thing that was really tore at me in the last episode, like seeing them go in and killing these people cold-bloodedly. Now, I'm not going to say whether or not it was right or wrong, because I mean, I agree with Rick. Eventually, they get around to Alexandria, but I felt dirty watching them do it. And in the same way, and you could see how Glenn was struggling with it, the person who's never killed anybody. I think Heath also said he's never killed another person. And both of them have now killed people. It's a lot easier to shoot your gun into a door and not actually, have confirmed kill. It's another thing to do with Glenn did and put the knife through him. But our good guys, they don't seem as good anymore, but I'm just guessing the Negan crew, we're going to see how bad they are. So maybe that will be the justification. But, and again, here in the last episode, we had Abraham. He let his guard down, and he's the reason that the guy pulled the thing and but I mean, I think, meeting Jesus, really key. And in this last episode, and I want to get your opinion on what the F is going on with Morgan and what the F is going on with Carol. Did Morgan get to Carol? Because it looks like she's got a score sheet now.
I agree. I think he did. I think she's beginning to question things, and it might not necessarily be because of Morgan. It might be because the fact that the reason why Sam is dead, and I guess the thing is, I guess she doesn't really know that hers was the last voice that he heard in his head before he started freaking out. You know, the whole thing about the monsters being everywhere, when she threatened him last season, that came back to bite Sam in the ass. And yes, she wouldn't know that that's what he was thinking about, but you could probably, Carol's not stupid. She can probably figure out in her head that, okay, maybe I went a little too overboard when I was threatening him, and that might have screwed him up a little bit. And she had been noticing him, you know, leading up to that point, acting more withdrawn and scared or whatever. And maybe she thought that was for the best, but then maybe she's starting to have a slight change of her thoughts process. And the fact that, you know, he died and then leaving the cookie on his grave, you know, in the episode, makes me think more along the lines of maybe it's a little bit of both. Not necessarily the fact that because she doesn't know that the last thing Sam thought about was what Carol was saying to him, but she can put two and two together and figure stuff out, that what she said to him might have been a little overboard and maybe she shouldn't have said it. But at the same time, the fact that she is covering for Morgan and getting everybody else to cover for Morgan, the fact that he had one of the wolves in there and you know, didn't tell anybody, that might have also, and maybe he is starting to chip away at her, because Morgan's, you know, he's very intense. He's always there, and whenever they're together, he's always bringing it up that this is not who you are, and maybe it's starting to finally chip through. Now, what's Morgan doing? The obvious thing we can probably assert is he's building a jail. So the next time he wants to change somebody or whatever, he's going to do it like what happened to him. You know, they'll put him in the jail, and then they'll push him down and then bring him back up and get him, you know, back to normal and keep him in the jail cell. That's, you know, what I'm thinking. That's actually a key to something that comes up in the comics eventually in the future. We're not going to get in that because that's a huge spoiler down the line, but I think that was also sort of a little shout out to the comics, because there is a sequence with a jail in Alexandria that plays a big role in the later issues down the line. So I think that that's what's his plan is that he knows, he still believes that he can change people because it worked for him. So why not work for everybody else? So I was going about it wrong. Let's do what happened to me to the next person. So let's build a jail. Let's throw them in the jail, and let's break them down that way and bring them back up. So
yeah, well, I kind of said it. I kind of said it before, and I know I'd mentioned this the last time we spoke, was that Morgan and Carol are two opposites, extreme opposites. You know, he's on one end of the scale, and she's the exact opposite. And if both of them could come together just a little bit, I mean, it's difficult in that world to survive without being able to kill other people, because there are just, you know, there are people out there like the wolves that you can't negotiate with. Okay, they feel that you should be dead, and they will come and they will kill you and take your stuff because, excuse me, you don't deserve to be there. You're not there. So it's really difficult. We'll see how it plays out. I'm just like, I saw that she had the score sheet, and, you know, and Morgan said his piece. You know, and Rick is kind of a middle of the road kind of guy, you know. He kills when he has to, and he is merciful when he has to be. It's crazy, but so another thing I wanted to touch upon, amen, is Father Gabriel. What and I think we may have toyed with Gabriel being gone. I think we're going to have possibly a storyline involving Father Gabriel. I don't know how long he's going to last, but I think he was one of the characters that they kind of focused on when they were in the church having the talk. And I don't know. See, some people say, "Oh, he's a priest." Blah, blah. No, he was a coward. Okay, he was a coward. It had nothing to do with him being a man of the cloth or a priest. He was basically a coward, and I think he is starting to grow a pair, or he's starting to find the ones that he has. And I don't think it was faith that really had much to do with the way he was acting. So he's overcoming, and he's doing it a hell of a lot better than Eugene is. But I thought it was very interesting that guy was like, he's like, put down the gun. Hey, bam, amen, Father Gabriel. I mean, did that change your opinion of him?
Yeah, it did a little bit. This is one of the things where, it's fun to watch the TV show because they are deviating so much from the comics. Because to be honest, Father Gabriel had his little piece in the comics, and in this whole No Way Out and Negan storyline, he is barely a blip in the series. The fact is, they got a good actor to play him. I think he was in The Wire. I think he was one of the actors from The Wire. And so they got a good actor in there. He's going to give a chance to show a little bit of emotion and gravitas like that. And it's a logical progression for his character too, because he started off as the coward. He meets up with Rick's crew. He's trying to get Rick's crew banished and, cover for his own cowardice. Then he realizes, okay, maybe they're onto something. There's some good people here. And then maybe I need to learn to defend myself. It took a little while to get their trust back, but apparently during the time jump, Carl and Rick taught him how to use a gun, because he mentioned it in the show. He said, yeah, Carl and Rick, I'm not a killer. Yeah, Carl and Rick, they taught me how to use the gun, but I'm still, I think he said in the last few episodes, I'm still a priest, but Carl and Rick let me use a gun. They showed me how to use a gun and weapon and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's who he is, but he also realizes, I think he's got to evolve as well. And there is no place for somebody who cannot defend himself in this world, because he's starting to see a lot of bad stuff now. I mean, he saw the Marauders, I guess, the ones who were the cannibals who ate poor Bob's foot, excuse me. He saw them get slaughtered in his church, and he saw that what these people are capable of doing. He's probably heard the stories that what Rick and the crew had gone through, and then seeing what's been going on in Alexandria with all that stuff, he's starting to realize this is, and then with the wolves, it's like, this is not our life anymore. The way the world is completely different than what it was. The new norm now is it's more vicious, more violent, and those who can't defend themselves are not long for this world. So I think he's decided he's still going to try to keep his faith, but that doesn't mean that when he needs to, he can go and he can blow some dude away, which is what he did. And just so much cooler than, Samuel L. Jackson did in Pulp Fiction when he was reading the Bible verse. He just did his very cool Bible voice, Bible verse, and then kaboom, amen.
Yeah.
It was fantastic scene.
Amen. Yeah. Some really interesting stuff happening with him. And I don't know how long that time jump was. It couldn't have been more than a few weeks, long enough for them maybe to break out the expansion, but Carl still has the bandage on his eye.
Judith really hasn't grown that much,
Yeah.
It's not like she's grown to be like a toddler. Well, she's kind of more of a toddler now, but not still in that. Yeah. She's still in that baby toddler frame.
Still one of the best actors on the show. But so I got a little bit freaked out when Carol was going around and giving out cookies and stuff to people. I was like, okay, who's getting the loaded cookie? That's what I wanted to know. I thought I thought someone was getting a loaded cookie, and I'm sure I wasn't alone when I saw her. Like, what the hell is she like? Is she still doing the happy homemaker? People know that she is, that she's not that persona. That was, maybe there are some people there, but one of the things I did notice that there was some brand new red shirts. Like it's like, oh look, there's a little redheaded girl there, and look, there's another kid. Oh look, there's more people that we can get killed. Yay! Um,
Which one is the cyanide cookie?
yeah. You want to know something? I want to see one episode where they have 3 or 4 people that are like in the background just wearing red shirts, and then in the next scene, like the zombies come or the saviors or whatever, and you just see them getting killed, and you're like, yeah, I knew that was coming because they telegraphed that shit, you know. Or they can do a reverse red shirt where they put everybody in a green shirt or a blue shirt, or they put red shirts on screen, and it's not the red shirts that get killed. It's the other people. So
the red shirts are the ones that kill the zombies or the
right. But the red shirts are the ones that are safe. For one time, just one episode. Red shirts are safe. So what do you think about the Rick Michonne hookup?
To be honest, it works for me. We knew Rick was going to hook up with somebody in the main cast if they were going to start hemming more towards the comics, because as we talked about before, Andrea is still alive in the comics, and he and her and Rick hooked up, and they're together now. But because Andrea and her grotesque feet are gone, they needed to bring somebody else in.
I just want to point out that I love feet, and when you were talking about Bob's barbecued feet, I was actually saying, boy, I really could use some barbecued feet right about now.
The toes are the best part.
I like the actual arch and the heel. But let's not. You see now.
I know. I got you. Yeah. Okay. We need a naughty pie with a foot in it now for you. Anyway.
Wow. Now you're talking.
But no, it makes sense. They've been through so much together, and they've gone from when she first appeared outside the jail as him not trusting her, and even going so far as saying, you know what, let's trade her to the governor so he leaves us alone, but he couldn't do it in the end, and then leading to Michonne finding them after all the incidents at the jail, when Carl was, going through his little growing phase and yelling at his comatose dad. And then gradually they're starting to form this little familial unit. She's starting to open up more. We learn more about her character. She had a kid at one time, and Carl now looks at her as I totally think, I don't think Carl is stewing about this. I think he totally is okay. I saw a lot of tweets when Carl, said, "Oh, it's cool." They thought that Carl was lying, that he was playing it a little too cool. I don't believe that for a second. I truly believe that he is glad that Michonne is and Rick and his dad are getting together, because I think he truly looks at Michonne as a mother figure. And I'm
going to disagree with you there.
Okay.
Because I think they're maybe as an aunt. I think.
Okay, yeah, maybe I can see that a little bit. Sure.
Because they're very good friends. She gets him, he gets her. They have open and honest discussions. We've seen that. So I agree with you 100 and maybe 99.9%. I'm just going to say I think like an auntie. But she is definitely a respected figure in his life. And I believe that he loves her, and not, in a milfy kind of way.
Right.
But go ahead.
Well, so I truly think, and I think it's fine. Michonne and Rick have been through enough together, and he, I think, trusts her more than a lot of people. Because of, she's shown precedent. She's shown that she has his back. And even, the time when he was going a little crazy, it needed her to knock him down and knock him out. And him saying, "Why'd you do that?" And she said, "Look, I don't want you to mess this up, and I don't want you to get hurt either." And so you could just see it was simmering and building a little bit. And did it take me by surprise? Maybe for a second, but then I was like, okay, no, it makes sense. It's a logical progression for their characters. It would have been less logical if after the jail massacre stuff happened and Michonne shows up on the doorstep and helps Carl and Rick when they're all still separated, if they hooked up then, because there was still a little bit amount of he was starting to trust her a little bit more, but there still was, it wasn't quite as friendly as it was. They needed to go through what they went through over the last season and a half, 2 seasons, to lead to this point. So to me, it leads to a progression. Now, I'm just going to just take a tangent real quick. This bothered me about one part of the episode, was when they're leaving to go take out Negan's crew, and Carl said he was staying with Judith, and Rick just sort of looks at him and then walks away. I tweeted out, "Say you love your son, or give him a hug or something. You don't know what's going to happen." He just looked at him and just left. I was like, what's up with that? I just had to throw that in because of the whole mother-father scenario. So other than that, it's a logical progression for me to see Michonne and Rick together. What about you?
She has been at his side, and she's actually been living in the house. So I just thought it was a natural progression. I'm going to say, again, the relationship between Michonne and Carl, I don't think, from what they've shown us, that there is anybody else in his life that he has that sort of relationship. He probably respects Carol. He respects, and he was a little prick to Carol, if you remember when they were back on the farm. Okay. Yeah. But he respects Carol. I'm sure he respects Daryl. Carl is one of those characters where they really don't show. The only other older character that they really showed any kind of relationship was Herschel. Okay. So you never really see Carl interacting with anyone else. Okay. As far as the adults go. So, it does seem natural, and it's a small world. So does Carl interact with these people? Yes, I'm sure he does, in some kind of fake way behind the scenes, that we never see. But as far as the story goes, the relationships that we're seeing is, it's Carl and Rick and Last Kicker and Jess and Porch Dick's son and Porch Dick's wife. And who else does he interact with? You haven't really seen, you've seen him in a scene maybe with Father Gabriel. Whenever everybody's together, he's there in the background. But as far as relationships go, so the only person right now that Rick is with that has been around longer than Michonne are Glenn, Maggie, and Carol and Daryl. Okay, so there's not a lot of people left from early on.
And also, and also remember, during that time where they were all separated, it was Michonne, Rick, and Carl. So there was periods of time where he wasn't interacting with anybody else except them. So it fits with what we're both saying, is that it's a logical progression.
Right. And even though, there was never anything between them, they never had time because there were always something. And Alexandria, again, when they first came in, the big thing is these people are soft. If we stay here, we could be soft. No. You want to know something? I don't think in the zombie apocalypse you could ever have to worry about getting soft. We've talked about Michonne and Rick. We've talked about Carol. We've talked about Abraham for the the main, and we haven't talked about Glenn and Maggie. And I said this when we first started the discussion. Um, and if you don't know what happens in the comic, it may not. One of my personal friends seems to think that Daryl might be the sacrificial person that may not make it out. And I could see that happening. But at the point we're at now, I mean, Carol and Maggie have been abducted, and in my opinion, I think that they rushed into this assault too quickly. I think they should have done, a little recon on the place, like not just everybody go there. Let's take a look, and then we'll attack. It seems like, if they would have had somebody out there for maybe a day and just see comings and goings, if they would have seen, because that building that they're in looks like it's nice and secure. It looked like there's only like one way in, that really not well protected door, because it was mostly glass, but no windows, no other doors, only one way in, kind of easy to defend. And it didn't look like there was a way that you could, shoot something through a window or whatever and accidentally, torch the place. So I think that, had it been me, and it's not hindsight. I mean, but before you engage an enemy, you should find out as much as you can about your enemy. So we'll see.
But maybe that's what's the point is, because I've been saying for a while too that what leads to the sacrifice to Negan or by Negan is the overconfidence that Rick and his gang are starting to show now. They came into Alexandria not trusting anybody, and maybe they were getting a little soft. I mean, yet not like soft like the Alexandria people, but maybe they're starting to get comfortable and they're starting to make mistakes because they think we've lived through all this shit and we've succeeded every single time. That's going to keep going. And that's a bad attitude to have, particularly in a zombie apocalypse where anything can happen. And I think maybe that had something to do with, I know you were turned off a little bit by the comedic aspect of the introduction of Jesus. Maybe that was just a logical extension of the whole thing about being overconfident, because they thought we could handle one single guy by himself. We don't need to worry about it. I got badass Daryl and I'm badass Rick Grimes, and, no one's going to fuck with us. And, if they do, we'll defeat them and we'll kick their ass. And then you get to Hilltop and they get approached and have their whole Hilltop situation, and then they end up diffusing a situation, granted a little bit more violent than maybe you would have expected, but they diffused it, and once again they succeeded. Then Maggie goes in, makes her pitch to Gregory. Gregory buys it, hook, line, and sinker. You get 50% of their product. Boom, you got it. You just got to destroy Negan. Yeah, we got this guy. We deal with these. And Michonne said before, yeah, we deal with these people before. Or Daryl said, yeah, we've gone in with less information or something like that, and we still succeeded. You're seeing this overconfidence, and then the fact then you get the actual raid because they thought, okay, we know what we're doing. We got a good plan. Our plans always seem to work. You have your little hiccup with the alarm going off. Okay, we're just going to kill everybody. That's what we're going to do anyway, so let's just going to kill everybody. But again, they weren't thinking, they were being overconfident. And I think you need to have more than Carol and Maggie watching the perimeter. Maggie is pregnant, and Carol, is kind of distracted lately. I would assume if I was Glenn and I didn't want to kill anybody, I would be over there too. I would say, hey, maybe we have Glenn and maybe even Heath. If we don't want to kill, we'll let the killers do their job. Maybe grab another person to come help them out, and we'll have 4 people here. 4 people is a little bit easier to fend off people than 2 people. And I just think it's this overconfidence, and and I think you're going to start seeing it slide a little bit with, this week's episode, with them having to figure out a way to transfer the hostages. But again, they can go back to, well, you know what? This failed miserably, but it wasn't our fault when they had the hostage situation with Beth. Okay, we found out what was going on. We made a plan and we went in there, and it succeeded for the most part because they were able to get everything without any guns ablazing. And then Beth had to go and do her stupid thing and got herself killed, and that's where that fell apart. They can make that as saying that wasn't our fault. We did our job. So they say we've dealt with hostages before. We can handle this before. We've just killed all these people. They got nobody out there. The thing is, they don't know how many people are out there.
Right.
And that's the thing is a lot. And they're also under the impression that this is the only compound that Negan has. Please, come on. Negan is the boogeyman from what they've been hearing from Hilltop. He is the worst absolute person you could think of. And he's not stupid. I mean, this is a compound. Yes, it's very impressive. But you know what? He's probably got a whole bunch of other compounds also. If he's been in the area for a while, he's probably done this deal with other groups, or he's taken over the area. And, he's a lot stronger than they think. But they don't realize this because their overconfidence is showing. And that's what I think this half of the season is going to focus on, is they're getting too overconfident. They're getting too comfortable. They're beginning to think that nothing can affect them. And hell, maybe that even had to do with the whole Glenn thing also, with the whole fake out death thing, which we're not going to do because we already covered that. But maybe, then he's like, oh, I've lived through everything, so nothing can stop us. And
well, you see, I'm going to stop you there.
Okay.
Because Glenn was invincible because he was without the sin of murder.
Yes.
He was only giving out mercy.
Thank you. I was thinking the exact same thing. I came up with that idea. I thought of that out after watching this episode also, but please give us
it's one thing to kill in self-defense, and there is no way that you can. This was a preemptive strike, what our good guys did. It was a preemptive strike. It's not self-defense. Self-defense is when someone is actively trying to kill you or harm you, and you are defending yourself. Okay. And what Glenn did was the same way that they kill zombies. So, does that make it worse? Well, in religious terms, if somebody is trying to kill you, there is no problem with you defending yourself. And if that person is trying to kill you and you kill them while you're trying to prevent them from killing you, you are justified. Okay, so you're almost sin-free. When when they were on the farm and Herschel decides to go on his little bender, and Herschel, Rick, and Glenn go into town and find Herschel in the bar, and the two dudes come in and they end up killing them, but Glenn doesn't. Okay, that was a killer be killed situation. Somebody was not going to walk out of that bar, and so that was borderline self-defense, but it was self-defense just the same. What happened in the last episode was not. That was cold-blooded murder, and not that changes Glenn's karma, but maybe it does, and we'll see how. You want to know something? I thought that they were going to try and spare Maggie, what is supposed to happen, but it looks like they are going right up that out, especially like there was no reason for her to be there. Everybody knows she's pregnant. No reason for her to be there. Carol's like, why the hell are you here? Okay. Maggie.
And her reasoning is not that sound. It's like, I made the deal with Gregory, so I need to be here. Well, no, that's what a deal maker does. The deal maker makes the deal. The other people handle it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right. Well, to add on to what you just said, maybe the Secretary of State negotiates a deal, and maybe the president puts his signature on a piece of paper. But if we have an agreement with, let's say, Germany, that, hey, if you get attacked by Russia, we're coming, do you think Obama picks up a gun, goes over to Germany, stands on the border and starts shooting at Russians? Hell no. Okay, Secretary of State? Hell no. Now, if the Secretary of State happens to be in Berlin and the Russians drop a bomb on the place he's at, he gets killed, then he gets killed. But my big problem about and it plays into their being self-assured. I mean, hey, Daryl had a run-in with Negan's boys, and they actually mentioned that. Okay, but here goes the deal. First of all, you're in the zombie apocalypse. Everybody that dies comes back. Okay, so we got to start having some babies because we're always going to lose to the zombies because people are going to die. And if you don't take care of them, they will become a zombie. So there's always going to be an increasing number of zombies and a dwindling human population. So eventually there's going to be, nobody left if things keep on going the way they are. But with the way things are, things don't change. And when I say that, let's say you're driving down a road that you may drive down every day from Alexandria to this little town. Okay. You drive down that road, you get some stuff, you turn around, you come back. Now, you do that 20 or 30 times, you know your route just a little bit. It's kind of like the way you drive to work every day. One day you're driving to work and you see a bulldozer. And on your way home, a building that was there is partially gone. And every day you drive past that place and slowly but surely the building comes down and your view is changed minutely, but every day. And then all of a sudden more trucks come in and all of a sudden they start to build something. Slowly but surely a new building goes up. But it happens every day and you might not notice it to the exact detail, but hey, they dug a hole. Hey, they put up a metal frame. They put up beams. Hey, look, they're putting walls up now. Oh, look, it's got a roof. You notice these things. So let's say you're driving up and down the same road every day and there's nothing on it. And then one day there's cars on it. What do? You say, these cars weren't here before. Let me investigate. That's what I would do. So they're parking their cars on a road that's on the way to this place. Even if this guy did not pull the alarm, okay, and you didn't know that it was just a satellite place, you got to kind of think that there's guys out all the time. And if there's guys out all the time, someone, because there's other people in the area. Okay, you've learned this. Okay, you didn't know about Hilltop. You found out about Hilltop, and Jesus says your world just got a lot bigger. Well, guess what? It's even bigger than that. There's these other people there. So, and Daryl has his story about what happened to him in the forest, and then Abraham and Sasha, when they're coming back from that little thing, they ran into those 11 or 12 guys that they bazookaed. There's a lot of people, other than the people in Alexandria around, and they've run into them. So you got to be a little bit more cautious about how you're moving around in that world, and call it arrogance or just, hey, we don't have to bother because there's nobody around. They haven't found you yet. You do not want to help them. And this was not well played by Rick and his group, but that's the trap that they fell into, I guess, because of that. But yes, that was Negan's satellite office because there was those big satellite dishes on the roof. Yes, it's and Dylan said this satellite
Midgie girl.
Yeah. But I mean, so let's reset and see where we're at right now. Right now, we are um, all of our main characters except for who? Morgan,
Carl.
Carl, the last kicker, Judith, and we said Morgan. Nobody else that is noteworthy is back in except the doctor.
Yeah, the doctor. Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's there. Oh, and I just wanted to bring this up too. Daryl never let him negotiate because he would have settled for a freaking cow. Okay, Maggie got half of their shit. Okay, he was. Yeah, we want that cow, and all he's thinking is like, I want me some T-bone steaks or porterhouse steaks, and you know, and some fresh milk.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, but yeah. So, and then what's going to happen eventually is Tara and Heath are going to leave them from the compound, the satellite. If once everything was successful, they're going to leave them and go on a month-long or 2-week-long look for supplies, which I guess is it's an easy way to get the actress out of the way so she can have her baby. But but the thing is though, there's a I think they revealed some plot descriptions for the remaining episodes. I think there's going to be a Heath and Tara centric episode coming up, and not next week, obviously, but maybe the week after.
That will piss people off, and I will love it.
It will, yeah. Because let's face it, because this is the crew that will probably run into Negan and have the head bashing, whatever it is. Whatever happens from this point till they get back to Alexandria, the Negan thing's going to happen during this time, because you're absolutely right, Tony. They got all the characters in one area now, and that's going to make the most sense to have everybody in there. Because in the comics they had Carl there too, but TV is a little bit different. You're not gonna do that. Plus, it wasn't quite as many people. Oh, you know who else we missed? Eugene's not with them either. So you have, and once again, Gimple did his little stupid thing where, you might see Negan or you might not. That was kind of
okay.
stupid.
So my prediction is, because I have heard that we don't actually get a chance to meet Negan until the last episode. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that makes things a little bit interesting, because if we meet him at the beginning of the episode, does he exact his justice then, or does it happen early in season 7? Which is a possibility. And I think if Glenn actually does die, I have a feeling, because it's happened with a lot of the main characters, not all of them, but she may have visions and or memories of Glenn. So although Glenn is dead, he may stick around, a la Laurie or Herschel, came to Rick a couple of times after he died. So I think we might get some of that stuff going on. And, I really think, I really thought, because I've never read the comic, but I know what's supposed to happen. And I said it before, I thought they were going to maybe spare Maggie that trauma, especially in the episode where he was supposed to die, but they decided at the last minute to make him live, where they went through all of the things with the watch and, dumbass on the walkie-talkie and stuff, which were great callbacks and stuff. But, purposely placed in that episode because they wanted to do that death thing. And I guessed wrong, because I thought they were going to be nice, and they weren't. So listen, people, you wanted Glenn to live through that, and unfortunately you may not be happy with what you get.
And I think I said it back when that happened also. I said it's going to be a lot more. That's why, as I mentioned before, I'm changing. I thought that Daryl was going to be the one to buy it. I think I'm going back to Glenn now is going to be the one that's going to get killed. And the fact is, it's going to make it a lot harder for Maggie to actually see that actually happen. As you were just said, she didn't see his death from the earlier in the season. This is going to be affect her a lot more deeper because she actually sees it. She actually sees the grotesqueness that happens because it, and that's going to supposedly make her, if they're going to be following the comics, a stronger person in the end, and she will take over Hilltop and run that. That's the comic version of it. If they're going to do that, I don't know. We'll see. But it's lined up. You're perfectly right. They've got it lined up perfectly right now to have Glenn get killed, Maggie to witness it, and that to lead to the next thing. And plus, I still think that would be and I mentioned this also, I think Glenn's death would be a bit more of a gut punch to Rick than maybe a Daryl. Well, now Michonne, if Michonne would have gotten killed, it might be as bad as a gut punch. But
that's why you put it in the perspective of the characters, and I put it in this perspective of the audience. Right. Daryl is loved. Glenn is definitely loved. Michonne is loved. These are characters that are really loved. Now, I feel that Abraham has that self-destructive type thing going on, and we saw that early on when we saw his backstory. How he met up with Eugene and stuff. Like, he needs a purpose. He needs something to fight for. He can't just survive. He needs a mission. He is driven that way. And that's why I thought you can kill Abraham tomorrow. And, other than the guy who's got some of the best lines in the show ever, okay, and he's a fan favorite that way, but yeah, he's he's gone. Totally. And that's why I thought they were gonna hook him up with Sasha, and then now Rosita's flipping out a little bit. So I still kind of get that vibe, but the thing that actually sealed it for me, and I don't know if because if you didn't pick up on this, and maybe it was a message to the comic book readers, and most TV fans didn't understand. I think it was the first guy that Glenn killed. Above his bed, there was a whole. There was about maybe 12 to 15 Polaroids of faceless people. And there's a reason that they were faceless, and there's a reason that they're Polaroids. Okay. And I'm just wondering if that was their way of foreshadowing events to come. And I was like, wow, look at, like, what is wrong? Like, that looks like somebody's face, but like, I don't know if they like blurred it out or they just made them all faceless, because they didn't want to show any kind of brutality. But I was like, oh yeah, it's coming. But I've also heard again that Negan's not going to pop up until the end. So Glenn may make it all the way to the end. he may not make it out of the first episode next season. I'm thinking, and I'm thinking, confidence is really high for Glenn. I mean, well, confidence is really low because it's not looking good for him.
But yeah, just going back to what you said earlier, that's what changed my mind from Daryl to Glenn, is after watching the episode where he killed a person for the first time, he no longer can be considered as a self-defense or whatever, because he actually never killed anybody in self-defense either. Mm-hmm. But I just, because he went ahead and killed somebody, that's it. I mean, you're going to have to pay the consequences. Yeah, they might have been bad. You still killed somebody. Without being premeditated. You just killed the guy. Yeah. If they were attacking Alexandra, that'd be a different story. But no, you just went to the guy. They're sleeping. He's dead. He didn't do anything to you. You don't know this guy's going to do anything to you. You've just heard stuff from what they said at Hilltop. You don't know what they'd be doing. He
Right.
might not
Well,
have done anything.
so here's where, because I don't think Heath actually did what Glenn did. I thought it was Glenn both times. I didn't see Heath with a knife.
Yeah, I think he grabbed it from Heath and he did it. I think you see Heath sort of take his hands off it. I thought they were going to do it together,
Right.
but I think I saw Heath's hands take off, or Glenn gave him a look and he did it. But I'm sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
interrupt you.
No. Well, because what I was going to say is, because get in that same vein of self-defense. Okay. So the crap hits the fan, and everybody wakes up. I still don't think what Glenn and Heath did after that, when I was talking about shooting the guns because they ended up in the armory and them shooting through the door, I still don't think that that doesn't count as self-defense for Glenn and Heath, because they are the ones that initiated the contact to begin with, along with everybody else. But so it still doesn't look good for Glenn. And I'm thinking, you know, people are gonna be pissed off when he finally does die. But I like Glenn. I think Glenn um has always been the person to volunteer and put himself out there, going all the way back. And even Maggie, before they, right after they got together, was calling him out for doing the stupid shit, like going down the well, and doing those. And Glenn always does the right thing, and he's always involved. And he's a great character. He would be, hey, if I could have Glenn on my zombie survival team, he'd be one of those people. But I'm just amazed that they can still find stuff to survive. I've always said East Coast is no good, especially where they are, but apparently there's not as many zombies as there should be. I don't know. I think there should be zombies all over the place still, especially in that part of the country. Those people were zombies before they died. You know what I mean? They're in the Washington D.C. area.
Exactly.
Um,
There's a lot of people in DC. I mean,
yeah.
He might not look like it, but there is.
No, there's a lot of people in that area. It's believe me, you have to go down. I mean, it's not like New York City, where you've got these big stone man-made mountains and stuff that you can identify and say, "Ooh, must be a lot of people here." There's a lot of people there, and they're hidden. They go underground. They're like moles. It is crazy. But so all of our characters are there. I think I almost want to pare back the number of people I think that might get it. But I'm just wondering if how this is going to play out, because I thought they were going to do more of a time jump than they did, and it seems the time jump that they actually did do was pretty insignificant. And I would think that they'd be, hey, there's stuff out there for them to get, and we'll see how this plays out. But I would think that they would have been a little bit better organized with food and stuff than apparently they seem to be. It seemed like they had loads and loads of food, and now all of a sudden food's an issue. I don't know. I see Carol is wavering on me. So I don't know.
I mean, what's freaking me out is looking at the ads for this week's episode. The black hoods make an appearance when they put the hoods over Carol and Maggie's head. The saviors. There's a sequence that happens later on in the Negan storyline where a similar thing happens, but when you lift up the hood, it's actually a zombie underneath. So, and the person who they put under the hood is that person. Basically, they killed somebody who you don't actually see get killed. It's killed off of the comic, but they come out. It's like a prisoner exchange, and so as soon as they want to make sure that the person's okay, they lift the hood up, and the zombie grabs a hold of them and starts attacking them. And I'm just wondering, is Carol's story played out? Do you think Carol might be do you think maybe Carol gets it next week, and maybe either a Tara or a Heath the week after, and then Abraham the week after, and then we have the big death at the end? I mean, or maybe nothing happens. Maybe it all works out again. It's going to add more fuel to the overconfidence that they have, and it's just going to bring them back down again. I don't know.
Well, like I said earlier, we need a scene where Carol has a conversation either with Morgan or someone else and lets us inside her head, because what is she writing down in this book? It looks like she's got a scorecard of how many people she's killed, and so maybe Morgan has exposed her. Maybe she has been overly brutal to as a facade, because she's really scared and alone and crying inside. It looks like she's got some affection for the construction worker dude that
Tobin, yeah.
Tobin. So is it a is it a sign of weakness? Could it be a turning point for her where maybe her character does soften a little bit and maybe does come back somewhat? Because again, where she started out and where she is now, and Kirkman loves the character. So I know he loves the character because he's has said it in multiple interviews that the Carol that he's got here in the TV show is a lot better and stronger than the Carol that he's got in the comic, and he likes that. So I don't know if she's played out. I kind of feel like Abraham might be a little bit played out, but now he's kind of got a story with Rosita and Sasha. I think Gabriel may go out in a blaze of glory. It's possible, but that might not be until a little bit further on down the line. Daryl is the enigma again, because he is a supporting character right now. He has no true storyline. He's got nothing going on. And he's got nothing in his future, according to the comics. So they could easily get rid of Daryl at any time, and it wouldn't really matter. And the interesting thing with the Michonne and Rick, I kind of like that better than Rick hooking up with Jesse and her taking the Andrea role on, because I don't think Rick needs to be with somebody that is his equal. And I don't think Jesse could be his equal because she's never been out there. Okay. And, they've always had a roof over their head. They've always been safe for the most part. They've always had food. They've never had to go out there and rough it. And not that she wouldn't be able to, but she's got a lot of things to learn. And, in the world that they're living in, it gets harder every day, and the competition for resources, as we've seen, especially in this area, it's crowded. There's a lot of people, so the match Rick and Michonne makes a lot of sense. So I think Michonne's fate is she's pretty safe. But again, my opinion, this is Rick's story. Nothing is happening to his kid that's going to have him leave, and nothing is going to happen to that baby. And if anything does happen to that baby or that child, it's not going to be on screen, and we'll see. Interesting was, in that first episode back when we see Sam when he's having that, you know, breakdown and stuff. And you see one of the things that sets him off is he sees the zombie child. Okay. And they never show the zombie child from the front, you know, they only show the kid from the back, and he is somewhat clean. So we don't know who this kid is. We don't know if he was an Alexandrian or what, but that was like the last thing that he saw before he fully lost it. And you know, my buddy was like, look, Andrea killed that whole family, you know, not Carol, because of the voices that you were alluding to earlier. You know, it was, and you know, we're the only ones that know about the voices. None of the characters do. But we got inside his head at that point, and my buddy's like, yeah, Carol killed some more kids, you know. And I think Carol has single-handedly racked up more child deaths, because Sophia, look at the flowers, and now Sam. So she single-handedly killed more kids on the show than anybody else. And Morgan, you know, I guess his story is going to play out the way it plays out in the comic. I don't know what his story is.
Now, again, Morgan's another one of these blips, just like Father Gabriel is, because when Morgan comes to Alexandria, he's not like he is now. He was just sort of like another character. Like, basically, it was a co-starring Red Shirt. Basically, he was in there. Oh, it's Morgan. We remember him from the comics, like that. He and Michonne are the ones who actually hook up, and eventually he actually gets killed in the No Way Out storyline, where the zombies attack Alexandria, and that's the end of that. But this Morgan is completely different. This Morgan is Zen Morgan. He's got an arc. And I think we're going to see it play out. I think we're going to have to wait and see how this plays out. And I think Morgan building the jail the jail cell that we're assuming is a jail cell, is a huge sign of what his story might be leading up to, is that he's going to try to be the rehabilitator of whoever or whatever, and see if he can do as good a job as the other guy did.
He's going to try and be like his sensei. But I pointed this out to one of my friends also. I was like, Morgan can't die. And he's like, why? And I'm like, because Morgan's got welding skills. You don't know how important that is, you know, welding skills in the zombie apocalypse. Hey, listen, if you want to friggin' fortify something, you know, strengthen it, you know, you need someone who knows how to weld and do it right. So he's got some welding skills. I really can't see Morgan coming more into the light, as I can see maybe Carol wavering, because I think because he bought into the Zen, that that is what has kept him going. And unfortunately, you know, bad things happen to good people. And there's a difference between someone who is bad and someone who's doing bad things. And I think we kind of learned early on with Joe's group, you know, the Claimers, okay, that the people that learned how to do bad things early on are the ones that survived more. So I think good people are fewer and far between. And I think the saviors are not good people, but I think the hilltop people seem like a decent sort. But they are like the Amish version of Rick's group, you know, for one of a, because they're like, yeah, this is a living natural history farm. So they've got, you know, plows and things that you can probably put on the back of horses and stuff. And, you know, they've got wagons and they've got all low tech stuff that works really great in the zombie apocalypse, because you don't need fuel for them. You just need the animals and things, and the knowledge of how those things work. So it's going to get really interesting, because I have a feeling we're going to get into, like, the next 3 episodes really are going to be a short time frame. I don't think we're going to have any time jump. Like, if you look at the first, so we just finished episode 12. If you look at the first 11 episodes, we're talking about 4 or 5 days worth of actual time going by until we had the little time jump, where maybe a couple of weeks went by. So far they've barely covered 2 months of time total in their lives. They haven't been in Alexandria that long, so they have gone through a lot of things in a short period of time. We had the little time jump, and I have a feeling we're going to get into one of those things where it's going to be, okay, it's already the next day. Okay. So how much longer is this going to play out? I think maybe another couple days. It might only be one day. It might be like the next 3 episodes might be all in the same day, now I'm thinking we have to get back to Alexandria at a certain point, right? We'd have to.
If they want to hem closer to the comics again, you're going to have Negan come to the doors and knock on it, and well, the braining happens before that. So yeah, they'll get back to Alexandria soon. Here's the thing: the whole key about if they are going to kill Abraham, if they're going to do it similar to the way he did in the comics, they're going to have to get back to Alexandria, because he's with Eugene, and Eugene has a crazy idea, which would actually might answer some of our where they're getting their supplies things from. And his idea is he wants to make bullets. So he figures he can figure out a way to make bullets. So he just needs some metal. And so he and Abraham go on a little quest for metal or whatever. And that's when the saviors come and they kill Abraham that way. And then it's not that far outside of Alexandria. And so Rick and his crew come and they take out that group, and then they go, and that's when they get attacked by Negan. So they've already sort of played that out a little bit. So I'm just wondering if all these, if Abraham is on the chopping block, and then in Glenn and all that stuff, if you're right, if that's all going to play within about a day or two, because now, it'd be kind of dumb to have them have this confrontation with the saviors at the satellite office, go back to Alexandria. Abraham walks out like nothing happened, gets killed. They have another skirmish with the saviors, and then they decide to go out after him again, and that's when Negan happens. I think that'd be kind of a waste of time and energy and stuff like that to do that. Where in TV you can make it more self-contained. So the fact that they have this group and they had this situation where they just slaughtered a whole bunch of people, of Negan's people, he's going to hear about this. I mean, it's not like, he's not going to hear about it. He's going to hear, he probably already knows about it. Well, and he might be on his way right now from wherever he was.
Well, I think what may happen, and it may be as simple as this. Negan is going to want to take retribution for having a whole bunch of his people killed. And he may mention that he may be looking for some people that maybe took out another one of his scavenging crews, a short while ago. Because I'm sure that they found the remnants of what was left.
Yeah, when they haven't come back and reported in or whatever. Yeah.
Right. So, and there's a possibility that Negan may want to kill Carol and Maggie, and Glenn maybe steps up to defend his wife, and it could play out like that. So he may go out a hero. Either way, he's going out. That seems to me to, and then Negan also turning around and saying, "Oh yeah, now you owe me supplies too, because you're going to provide me with supplies." And he's going to want to go in and take all their guns and stuff. And I believe that at one point Rick had said, we're going to take some of our stuff and we're going to hide it, outside the walls, just in case something bad happens, like you know, always does. You know, we need some place where we've got stuff hidden. And so I think um, that could come into play too. Um, but I don't know. Um, they can, there's definitely ways that they can stay in line with the comics without getting right. I mean, again, they can never come right back to the story because some of the characters just aren't there anymore. Andrea being one of them. Plus, we've got some extra people. So whenever they decide, hey, you want to know something? If one of the characters or one of the actors, you know, like maybe Norman Reedus decides that he wants some more money. And they say, well, you want to know something? How about we get you unemployment? And, you know, they could do that. But um, at this point, I think we've got our predictions in.
Yep.
So if anybody is still interested uh, for Snark Stock, you know, send me an email, get in touch with Dawn, get in touch with Dylan, get in touch with Myrna. She is the head count person. And hopefully by next Friday evening, which should be the 18th, we may have some more information about actually what's going to happen Snark Stock, which is June 11th to 12th, down in Baltimore area. So get in touch with us. You know how to do it on Twitter. Uh, you can hit me up or hit Dylan up, or if you've got our emails, you can send us an email. And again, we'll be meeting next Thursday for a short time and trying to get some stuff pulled together. So, thoughts and prayers out to little ass kicker, Peyton Manning Fanning.
Cage is a fighter.
Cage. Anything else that we need to add? Or, you know what? There's one thing I haven't done. Okay, I haven't done that. But let's see, Q&A. Did anybody post anything in the Q&A? Because I didn't even open it up.
I didn't open it up either.
Nobody did. Well, people were hitting us up on Twitter. I wish, like, I can go down to this viewer button and click it and see if anybody, like, who was actually watching, because it's like it says people are watching, but who knows. So I tweeted a link because Amy said that she was upset that they were, you know, packing up stuff, and she was upset that she couldn't watch the snooze. So I tweeted her out the YouTube link, and I was like, yeah, you can watch it tomorrow. It'll be there. So if you agree with Dylan and I's very long and detailed analysis of The Walking Dead and our predictions, let us know. Hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Tony Solo. Dylan is at Holidell. Anything that you say will be held against you, and we will mock you and snark you. So, you know, just
what we
don't
do.
think. Yeah, because nobody's safe, you know. And that's about it. Next time we will be wrapping up season 6. And we'll be able to look.
Maybe have a couple of guests. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, and we'll be able to actually look at our own report cards and see what our predictions are. Because hey, just because maybe Dylan has read the comics and knows what's going on, doesn't mean he knows what they're going to do in the TV show, because they have made left turns before. Okay,
I'll tell you so much. This episode that came on Sunday, not even in the comics. There is no attack on a satellite office. There's nothing like that. That was totally done for the TV show. So
right, and again, to my point, because they can get to where they want to go at they can intersect with the storyline in the comic, but take a different path. One of the things that a lot of people don't understand is that the comic is so much more brutal than the TV show. And there's reasons for that. You know, it's a TV show. They want to keep sponsors. They want to keep people watching the show. If they go too far out, they're not going to get the audiences. And I'm going to give you a good example. Um, I do not watch American Horror Story. Okay, there's a couple of reasons I don't. I'm not really into the genre. I know a lot of people that watch it and say it's a great show. It is definitely for adults, but it's on after 10 o'clock, and I will fall asleep no matter how good the show is. I started watching a couple episodes this season, and I saw stuff where I was like, torture porn is something that I don't like.
I
Okay.
don't either.
And not that this is torture porn, but this is for that over the top um, horror slash thriller, psycho killer type crowd. Like, if that's what you like people that like Criminal Minds would like this because it goes way far beyond what you see in a show like Criminal Minds. Okay. I saw a man get raped by somebody that was wearing something that looked like a metal funnel strap on type device. And I was like, I cannot watch this. Okay. And I know people that love the show. Okay. And so that show, although it does have a big following, doesn't have near as big a following as The Walking Dead. And if they did something like that on The Walking Dead, many people would stop watching it. Okay. I happen to love zombies. Said this many times before. I think zombies are the scariest creatures ever, only because at night when you go to bed with your wife, your boyfriend, your significant other, okay, in this world, if they pass away in the night of natural causes, in a short time, they could possibly come back, turn around, and want to have you for breakfast. Okay. So, and nobody escapes this. That's why it's so scary. It's your next door neighbor. It's the priest in your church. It is the bus driver that takes your kids to school. It's the creepy guy who lives next door that gets all these brown packages delivered. you know, it's everybody around you, and you're not immune if you're rich. You're not immune if you're poor. Okay. It doesn't make a difference if you're black, yellow, or green. You know, you are a potential victim of this. And then you become a participant in it on the other side. So that's why I like zombies, because you're never safe. There isn't a safe place. And we've talked about safe places before. And some people think on top of a mountain at a ski resort wouldn't be a good place. I think that it would be a better than average place, because my opinion is zombies should freeze in the wintertime. Okay. A frozen zombie ain't eating you. Okay. I would preferably not want to be in a secluded ski lodge. I have other ideas about where I want to be. Preferably not on the East Coast. I don't know if I'd want to be in a boat in the water, but I wouldn't want to be kind of, you don't want to be between DC and Boston. Okay. In the Northeast corridor on I-95, you don't want to be anywhere near there. That's why I like zombies, and that's why I don't watch American Horror Story. But getting to my point, which I really friggin' went far off it. There's a lot of things that they don't show. They really don't show kid zombies. They've only done it a couple of times, I think, at the very beginning, and Sophia. Okay, but they never show. I mean, I think Sam, showing him get attacked was about as graphic as they've ever gotten with a kid. But those type of scenes, they have to throw in every once in a while just to keep it honest. They can't never show any of that, but they definitely limit that violence, but they show you the violence in other ways. They did it twice too. They did it once with baby Judith with the bloody car seat, and when they were on the highway in season 2, when they were going through the cars as they were looking for Sophia, where they were looking for supplies, there was another scene where they showed a bloody car seat and no child in it. So, hey, let your imaginations run away with you there, but they can show violence without actually show you the violence. So,
Yep.
Yeah, and I guess you got hit up too, because
yeah, Laura Norman. Yeah. Laura Norman just basically said Montana would be a good place to be. Very few folks. Yeah, Midwest.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm thinking a great place to be would be someplace out in the Midwest, off of an interstate, not too far from an interstate, near a semi-big city, preferably if we could find an engineering college in the area, probably the best place to be. Because if you're not too far from an interstate, then, and this is one of the things I don't think they've ever really done, but gone into truck warehouses. Like you always see them going into houses and stores and, in the town, but they've never, like, it's never come to anybody's, at least on the show, and I don't know in the comics, but hey, guess what? If you're near an interstate, usually there's warehouses. There's places that trucks pull in, unload stuff, and pick stuff up. Okay. Some of those warehouses have to have some kind of non-perishable food, and there should be lots of it. Okay. And canned goods can survive for a long, long time. And you should be able to find places like that. Now, you come off the East Coast and you can find a place like that in an area where there's not too many people, but there could be a big distribution place, especially considering out in the Midwest where a lot of food is grown. Okay. It seems logical that the food is grown here. You drive it to a place where it's processed and put into a can that's not too far from where it's made, and it goes into a warehouse until it can be put onto a truck and driven to where it's got to go. An engineering school, why? Because you got guys there that you could say, okay, we're going to make this place safe. Figure out how to put up some fences, maybe some other sorts of obstacles and things like that. And plus someplace where in the wintertime, it gets winter, it gets cold, and, you get your zombie freezes, and makes it so that you can travel around a little bit unencumbered, and you can take down the number of zombies that you have to deal with at your leisure while you're looking for resources. And then again, you turn around when things warm up and there's more zombie activity. If you've stored up enough food and you learned how to grow stuff, you might be able to sit tight for a while and limit your going out.
And also, you know what? If they're frozen, you can go out and on a trek and you can kill them fairly easily. Then they're not going to try to attack you. You can kill them easily. You can wipe them out that way, so you don't have the big group. But that's the one thing that I'm kind of disappointed in the show about, is they've never done a winter season. They've always skipped over it or whatever, and they've done it plenty of times in the comics, because you can. I mean, because in the comics you have the thing, but it's similar. They basically go into hibernation, and then of course now it turns into a real survival thing, because you got to find the food during the winter. You've got to find clothes and warm clothes and heat and stuff like that, and it's not easy in a situation where your gas power or your electricity are down. But it's a little bit easier because you're not constantly being attacked by zombies. Now, I would like to, everyone wants to watch The Walking Dead to see zombie kills and zombie attacks and stuff like that. But I would like at least, maybe not a season, but at least a couple episodes to show what they go through during winter sequence, because it would be more of a human drama about trying to survive, but and design and see what the zombies do, because they freeze, or they go into like a hibernation where they stay where they are. They just sort of stand in the woods, and that's where they stay until the thaw happens.
So Laura says living at the Cisco's, and it's spelled Sysco. And if you don't know what Cisco is one of those companies that is a big provider of um, cooking and food that's used in the food service industry. So like the oil that they put in the fryers, but they have everything,
Yeah,
from soup to nuts.
when I worked at a bagel shop, every Wednesday we had the Cisco delivery, because we not only had bagels, that was a different delivery, but we also did sandwiches and breakfast stuff like that. So you get bacon, you get eggs, you get meat, turkey and ham, and then you get the napkins and the silverware and the plates and all that from that. So you get all that. We just got what we needed. There's a ton of stuff you can get from Cisco.
Right. So Cisco sells everything. You like if you have a restaurant or even a bagel store, you can get most of the things that you need to complete your main business. Okay, everything from napkins to janitorial supplies to every food item that you sell that that you're going to prepare in your place. Like Cisco will sell the frozen French fries, all of that stuff. So yes, exactly what I mean. If you could find someplace like that, then you're good. There's got to be a warehouse that has that sort of stuff.
John McGivna says, you just described our lovely little metropolis of Madison. So come visit when the zombies start walking you like cheese. As I said before, Dawn and I almost moved to Madison early in our relationship before we got married, and I've always liked that. Or that would be a good spot. I was thinking when you're talking about technical schools and stuff like that, Lincoln, Nebraska would be a pretty cool thing, because I've heard they have some pretty good
But you see where I'm going. It's lower population density, so less people fighting for scarce resources. But the resources would be less scarce because there'd be less people looking for them. The only thing is, if let's say in this hypothetical situation, if I was going to go out to the McGivness, I'd first have to drive down to Scotty in Georgia, because he's got a hell of a lot of guns, dude. And then
knives. That's a good thing.
Knives and switchblades. Yeah. And then we'd make it out to the McGivness, and I'm sure just as long as Helena stays on her meds, then we'd have a pretty good situation. And she's good.
Yes.
And it's great if you've got a giant wheel of it and you can roll it, and as it's rolling, it just picks up zombies as it's going. That would be fantastic. I'd love somebody to put that in a TV show. I just love that. If someone could actually do that, or actually have like the Liberty Bell come off a truck and take out a whole bunch of zombies, that'd be so cool too.
It would be awesome.
So with that was a nice little digression. I love talking about possible survival scenarios. I'm not liking the bus thing. I'm not liking the boat thing in fear.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to last long. I think I saw one little clip where they're I guess they're on the boat, and there was something along it. It looked almost like a Chinese junk. Okay. And a Chinese junk is probably about maybe a 25 or a 30-foot boat that's wooden, that has, low draft, pretty, decent sized deck. And it looked like it was just filled with bodies. So I don't think being on the water is a good idea. The only thing that being on a boat does for you is give you the ability to travel. And I'm going to say to get out of the situation that they're in, because if they're in Southern California, lots of people, okay, and to go further north to where there's maybe a better chance, because traveling to travel by road out of Southern California that
Oof.
early in the zombie
Oh,
apocalypse would probably
oh
be.
my God.
And again, with fear, and this is the last thing that we're going to talk about before, because it's almost 11:30 and I'm falling asleep. But at the end, not the very end, but as they were getting out of LA in that last episode, the roads should have been totally choked with cars. And they did try and show, like, okay, there was a line of cars over here, and there was another line of cars on one side of the highway, and the other side of the highway was totally empty. That bothers me. Okay. And this is a fact. Okay. Um, I had read that it would take um 20, at least 24 hours to evacuate New York City. Okay. And I think that's bullshit, because a lot of people don't realize that New York City is made up of 5 boroughs or 5 counties are New York City. Staten Island, which is an island. Brooklyn, Queens, which are on Long Island with Nassau and Suffolk County. Okay. Um, and Staten Island is connected to Brooklyn via bridge. Brooklyn and Queens are both connected to Manhattan, which is New York County, another island, okay, via several bridges and tunnels. And then you have the Bronx, okay? The Bronx is the only part of New York City that is not an island. It's part of the mainland, but it is separated from the rest of the city by a body of water. Okay, so in theory, if you wanted to leave New York City, if you live in Queens, what you got to do is jump across the border into Nassau County and you're out of New York City, but you're probably still in danger. And they say it would take 24 hours to evacuate New York City. I find that to be bullshit, because there's no way, unless, even if you took all of the lanes on every highway and made them all go one way, west, you still wouldn't be able to get everybody out in 24 hours. And the point was, I was reading this article. If back in the day, if the Russians had fired a missile at the United States, we get something like 45 minutes worth of warning. Like, from the time that the thing launches, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour for the thing to get there. So if they were to say, hey, the Russians just launched, go now. Oh, and by the way, if the Russians did launch, I'm a dead man anyway, because I'm not too far from McGuire Air Force Base, Fort Dix, and it's a joint base. So the Air Force are there, the Navy, the Marines, the Army, Air Force, they're all out there. Okay. It's not too far. It's a pincushion. It's a target on somebody's map. So I might as well be in Washington, D.C., or I might as well be in Baltimore or New York City.
Naval Academy,
Yeah.
Washington, D.C., Andrews Air Force Base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even Aberdeen Proving Ground, if you really want to really go that far too, all within the Maryland, Baltimore area. Yes, I'm with you there, Tony. Too. I'm a bullseye also.
Yeah. So I mean but I mean, basically from for the most part, you can go from DC, which is just a little bit south of you, from DC to McGuire, and if you go a little bit further, you can take New York City into that also, and you can take out some goodly amount of stuff. 45 minutes warning, 24 hours to totally evacuate. So is not going to happen. Okay. In the zombie apocalypse, you have a little bit more time, but the problem is being stuck in traffic, especially at the beginning, is not where you want to be during a zombie apocalypse. So it's a no-win situation. I just, want to say how much getting away from the East Coast would be the thing to do. And question is, would you be able to get away? And that's why survivalists. Unless you're out wherever your safe house is, unless you live there 24/7, chances are you ain't getting there. You know, so yeah, that's why you gotta head down to Georgia and go to Scotty's house. He's got lots of guns. He's got Brave Boy too. He's not too far from there. He's got guns too.
Oh yeah.
I didn't. You didn't hear that from me, but there were pictures of their shit anyway, so it's not like it wasn't public knowledge. Anyway, so next time we may have a guest or two. We will have more information a month from now about Snark Stock. We're probably going to start ramping up the meetings, but we will have something by Friday next week, and that's about it. Everybody, keep on praying for Little Ass Kicker, and Dylan knows.
Sunday, 12ish. I'm solo. I'm actually really excited about it. It's What If Dylan Knows, where I'm going to just talk about different what if scenarios in pop culture and history as well, including, apropos to our conversation, what if Frank Darabont had been the showrunner for Walking Dead through its entire 6 seasons? And I'll give you what my belief is. That's a different situation, but that's
because I was reading something about that, and he finally came out and they did an interview, and he kind of said some things that he hasn't, mentioned before. So that's interesting that you bring that up.
But it's a whole bunch of different what if scenarios. Yeah. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on, but I just have a lot of really cool things that I'm really excited about.
Okay,
about 12:30ish on Sunday.
I'm only going to take 1 minute on this. I got really excited because I got fooled, and I got into one of those YouTube viewing loops where I was watching this guy talk about warp drive and the possibility that it could happen maybe in our lifetime. And I was really excited, and the guy's name is Dr. Harold White, and I was like, oh, I got to find out more about this because this is really cool. Because, okay, so background, it is impossible to travel faster than the speed of light. Okay, and even if you could travel at the speed of light, if you wanted to go someplace that was 4 light years away at the speed of light, it would still take you 4 years to get there. So a round trip is 8 years. And let's call it 10, because if you're going to go there, you're going to spend some time there, and then you're going to, come back. The long and the short of it is the way a warp drive is allegedly supposed to work is that you're not going to travel faster than the speed of light, but what you're going to do is you're going to reduce the amount of distance that you're traveling by warping space in front of you. Okay, which is basically technically how the Starship Enterprise works. So I'm like, wow, I can't believe we're getting really close. I mean, they're saying 20, 30 years possibly. So maybe even in my lifetime that something like this could happen. And then I started reading other stuff that said, yeah, it's all bullshit because it's garbage science and they're not doing good experiments. And there's a lot of what ifs in there, and they're trying to get money. But basically what they're trying to do is get funding so they can go ahead and not make it junk science. But some people are saying it's never going to happen because they want to travel faster than the speed of light, but they don't want to travel faster than the speed of light, So right now it's bullshit. So if you see anything about traveling faster than the speed of light, not that they're trying to do that. What this guy is saying is we're not traveling by we're getting around that by not going faster than the speed of light. We're just reducing the distance that we're traveling by warping space. So instead of traveling that whole distance, you're actually doing this. Okay. And if you can get up to half the speed of light. And if you're cutting it down to 1,000th, you're going to get there really quick. You're talking about months as opposed to years in travel. But anyway, so we need you kids and when I say kids, I mean you 5th graders right now. You need to start working on that math shit and figure that crap out. So by the time you get out of high school, you can have that stuff figured out, and I won't have to die without warp drive because we need it. Because that's how I can get off the East Coast with warp drive when the zombie apocalypse happens. And that's how it all ties in. And one more tweet. And stop by the outlet malls. Yeah, that's all the stuff. Yeah, who wants to go to an outlet? If I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna go into like the real high dollar, like your Lord and Taylor's and your your more ritzy type places. I'm not gonna go and get myself a sensible vehicle. I'm gonna go get myself a fucking Porsche. Okay. Why? Because I can. Who wouldn't? They make the what is it? The Cheyenne. That's a that's a 4-wheel drive SUV made by Porsche. I get one of those. Maybe I get a couple.
There you go.
Why not? Why should I settle for a friggin' Ford Escape when I can get a friggin' Porsche Cheyenne? I mean, come on, give me a fucking break. These people getting these shitty fucking cars here. Get yourself some nice. Get a BMW. They make a good.
Sorry, I'm stuck with my Honda Civic.
No, I'm just saying. I wouldn't you? Zombie, what are you going to do? You're going to go for a Honda Civic? Now, okay, the Honda Civic would be a practical car because it is good on gas, and there are a lot of them out there, so you'll be able to find parts for it like crazy.
But yeah, it's not stylish, so yeah, I know.
But wouldn't you have a guilty pleasure? I mean, personally, I want an SUV, something with 4-wheel drive that's not going to get me stuck. Mm-hmm. Okay. Plus, Honda Civic, tell you the truth, I'm going out scavenging. How much shit can you put in there?
Yeah, not a lot. You're right.
Not a lot. You want something that can hold some stuff, So why not? Why not go for a friggin' BMW, Mercedes? Get something nice. Listen, you don't want to mess it up. Who gives a shit? You fuck it up, you go get another one. There's a whole friggin' lot there. It's full of the things. You get Morgan. He put some spikes on the front. Get one of those cow catcher things. You can zombie proof that thing. So why you chip the paint? There's a whole bunch more.
So what? Yeah.
There's a whole bunch more over there. And just as long as you know where you got all the spare parts you want. And your choice is A. If you really zombie proof one and you want to keep that one running, you know where you can get the spare parts. And, for your nice Saturday night out in the zombie apocalypse, you have a second one that's all trimmed out and stuff, and maybe doesn't have all the accoutrements on it, the accoutrement, but it's still a BMW, Drive over to Lord and Taylor, you pick up your wife a new fur coat, and guess what? Because fur's back in style, because Peter's friggin' zombies, okay? Drive around. The only thing that sucks is, you can go into the high-end electronic shop and buy the best, flat screen TV, unless you got panels and, solar panels, and unless you got a good DVD collection, the thing is pretty much useless,
That's why I have my DVD collection.
But again, you don't need a DVD player. You get yourself one of those gaming systems. You get your games, you get your DVDs, and you can play them on that big flat panel that you just picked up by not going to the outlet mall there, Laura. Okay, you get the high end shit. Like, why should you settle for shit at the fucking, hey, yeah, oh look, I went to the Levi's outlet store and I got, these pants over here that they're charging me the same price as good Levi's, and these are irregular. So what? You can't tell the difference. It still says it's irregular, and they still want you to pay full price. F you. If it's irregular, you should be charging me half. You piece of crap. Now, I used to go to outlet places when they used to give you a discount. Like, I remember, like, there was a Levi place where I'd go there, and I was like, yeah, these are irregular. Okay. Well, I didn't know why they were irregular. I didn't know. Irregular means it didn't pass inspection. One of the stitches might be out of line. Or maybe they didn't put enough stitches in. Okay. I don't know what was wrong with it. Hey, but $7.99? I'll take 3 of them. I don't care. Oh, yeah. Now you want to charge me $49? Go F yourself. Outlet mall. I go to friggin' Lord and Taylor, Macy's. What's some of those other high-end shops there, Dylan?
There's an Under Armour one down here.
And Romance. Do you have Romance? Is that the name of it? Romance?
No, I haven't heard of that. So The best outlet malls are up in Pennsylvania.
I know what you're talking about.
That's where I went to school. Anywho,
That's it. We're done. 11:38. We've ranted enough. We had some good rants tonight, though.
we did.
I didn't never thought about the high end stuff. Like that just came to me when she said outlet malls. We must talk about this more next time.
Definitely.
Okay? Where are we gonna? I mean, hey, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go out and you're gonna get yourself a Weber grill. You know, you're not gonna go. You're not gonna get the friggin' Kenmore special at Sears. You need a new barbecue? Hey, get myself a nice Weber grill. What a stainless steel, motherfuckers. It costs $1,500.
Oh, yeah.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Dylan, tonight was actually extra more fun, and I don't know if it's because I'm not stoned and you're drunk. But
I was
not that I'm ever stoned when I'm doing the show, but I've been guzzling down Sunkist. Not a sponsor of SnarkALec Radio. Never will be. Okay, let's see. One more. Jeez. All right. Good night. Listen, thank you again. That was great with the birthdays. Again, seriously appreciate it because I forgot to send, and I was thinking about it too, and then bling, and I got the email. So thank you, Laura. We really appreciate everything that you do for us, and I am extremely sincere with that. And having said that, I'm going to say good night. It's 11:40.
Yep.
And we're starting on time.
Happy Easter. Happy
Easter. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And, say a prayers for a little ass kicker. And we will see you next month. What do we say? 10th?
7th or something like that.
Or something like that. Yeah. It's
You'll see it.
You'll see it. Yeah. All right. Good night, everyone.
Cage is a fighter.
Yep.